What's up everyone? I am Jamie with Three Little Goats Homestead, and we are officially prepping for the holiday season. So first up on our holiday how-to series this year, we are going to be starting off with something simple and something that a lot of homesteaders definitely need. We're going to do some homemade skillet seasoning pucks, and I use beef tallow with mine. It's my personal preference, but you can tweak this recipe for what you have on hand and what works best for you. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, for this recipe you're going to need some basic things. You're going to need a scale to weigh all of your ingredients. You need either a double boiler, or you can heat everything up in a microwave, or you can do what I do. I use an old chocolate melter. I've had this thing, gosh, since we lived in North Carolina, so probably about 10 years. It's never seen chocolate. I use it all just for melting all of my waxes and butters for stuff that I make. I'm also going to be using some beef tallow that I've rendered myself. I have a few videos going over rendering beef tallow, and I'm also going to be using some castor oil. So if you don't want to use beeswax, you can actually omit beeswax and just do a 1-to-1 ratio of beef tallow and castor oil. But I want the castor oil in it because it makes it just a little bit easier. Or I want the beeswax in it because it just makes it a little bit easier and less messy. So I've already started melting some of my beeswax. It's a little chilly today, but I'm going to go ahead and weigh out my beef tallow. I am doing a double batch of this recipe today, and I will have everything written up, as well as substitutions that you can check out on the blog if you wanted to check that out. And I will have a printable label there as well if you wanted that to be able to print out. Now I like beef tallow in my seasoning pucks just because it has a fairly decent smoke point. It's a 420-degree smoke point for beef tallow. Castor oil is around 390. If you wanted to, you could substitute out avocado oil, but a lot of people tend to have allergies for avocado, so I kind of omit it. Plus it's really expensive. So I find beef tallow and the castor oil work out great for what I use it for. And then the fun part, adding in the castor oil without going over. Alright, so I'm going to get this back into the heater, and I'm going to let this melt down, and I'll bring you guys back when everything is nice and melted. Alright, so all of my wax and fat is all melted down. So now we're just going to, come on, transfer these to little containers. Now you could also, if you wanted to, put them in a silicone mold and pop them out, but I just prefer the metal containers. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to transport back and forth to markets and things like that. So I'm going to get all of these filled, and I'm going to let them cool completely, and then we'll label them, and I'll bring you guys back when they're ready to be labeled. Alright, so they are still a little bit soft, but they're getting there. But I went ahead and printed out all my labels. I print my labels out on a thermal printer. It just makes things a lot easier, and I don't have to worry about running out of ink. So I'm just going to go ahead and place all my front labels because it is a thermal printer. I don't quite want to put them on the bottom yet because, well, they are still a little bit warm. So I'm going to get all these labeled, and then they'll be ready to be packed up for gifts and for markets. Alright, so once these guys are completely cooled and the bottom is no longer warm to the touch, I will put the labels on the back. So I will see you guys in the outro. Alright y'all, like I had mentioned, I will have a complete blog post with the recipe as well as the printables if you wanted to print those out yourself. And if you have any questions, comments, or if you want to see something specific for our holiday how-to series, leave them down in the comments below. And as always, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!